Remember the Dual Berettas or the Spact Devastator? These weapons were part of Last Day on Earth in the early days. Some of these weapons were actually cool looking, like the Dual Berettas. Damn! Or the Gas Grenade, a weapon that was only available during Season 14, but they were later on replaced or completely removed from the game. Today we are going to discuss these old weapons, hoping maybe someday Kefir will decide to bring them back. The first weapon on our list is the Spiked Devastator, one of the earliest weapons in Last Day on Earth. Even the name of the weapon is cool, the Spiked Devastator. Yeah! It was part of the game from the very start, but it was actually replaced with the Metal Pipe in Update 1.9. In some sense, the Spiked Devastator was a unique weapon. First because it was craftable using empty cans. This was a great way of using empty cans instead of just recycling them. Then when you look at the crafting recipe, the Spiked Devastator was cheaper than the Metal Pipe we have today. Empty cans and nails are easier to find than bolts and an iron plate. The weapon didn't really change when it was converted to the Metal Pipe. The stats for damage, attack speed and sneak damage stayed the same. So when you think about it, a more expensive version of the Spiked Devastator. Of course, you might say that the Metal Pipe can be modded, which greatly enhanced the damage and the attack speed. But for me, there was no real reason to replace the Spiked Devastator. The two weapons could have been kept, and maybe with an even cheaper recipe for the Devastator. For example, 5 iron bars, 3 nails, 2 leather, and empty cans of course. This way, the Spiked Devastator could be used by beginners for low tier locations, and the Metal Pipe could be a better and modifiable version. Something I also didn't know is that the Spiked Devastator has a fanbase. Yes, let me read a few comments I found in the wiki page of Last Day on Earth. OMG, they removed this? Well, empty cans are now useless. Thank you, Kefir. Damn, even back in 2018, people were mad at Kefir. If you miss the Spiked Devastator, you can combine tin can with nails and balance the handle, then you can in some way get the old weapon back. Keep dreaming, my brother, keep dreaming. Moments of silence for the Spiked Devastator. Why swap these? The Devastator had same exact stats, but looks cooler. I agree, my friend, I agree. Tell them. Do you like the Metal Pipe or are you on the side of the Spiked Devastator? Share your opinion down below in the comments. Now imagine this, a weapon that has the same attack speed as the spear, but deals double the damage. Can you guess the weapon? If you have guessed the broom, then congrats. The broom was a weapon first introduced with the Halloween update back in 2018. As I said in the start, the broom had the same attack speed as the spear, but it dealt the double damage. However, the weapon was not craftable. It was only found in the Halloween crates and tombs. First of all, the broom was part of the Halloween update. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the first ever made event for Halloween, and it was one of the best events of all time. Even though I didn't experience the event itself, I have seen many players in the community praising the event, saying that it was a very unique and fun and enjoyable event to play, and that it was the golden days of Last Day on Earth, when Kefir used to make events and updates for players. Maybe some of you guys can share some of the experience you had with the event. All of that to say, the broom was a goated weapon. I mean, same attack speed as the spear and double damage. I'm taking it all day, every day in Bunker Alpha. Plus, when you think about it, the broom doesn't necessarily need to be part of a special event for Halloween, right? The broom is an everyday object used by everyone, not just by witches. So, should the broom come back as a normal weapon in Last Day on Earth? Or am I alone here? Let me know in the comments what you think. Next up is the Gas Grenade, another weapon in the theme of Halloween. But this time, it was not introduced in a Halloween event. Rather, it was part of Update 1.17.11. If you didn't know, Update 1.17.11 was all about the port. In its update, the devs implemented the sectors inside the port laboratory, introducing new types of zombies, new traps, new weapons and armor, the new system of perks, new bosses, and so much more. It was probably the best and most ambitious update in Last Day on Earth history. For us though, we are interested in the Gas Grenade. The Gas Grenade, as you may know, didn't stay for long in the game. All the features I mentioned were kept, but the Gas Grenade was completely removed afterwards. Why? I have no idea. Basically, the Gas Grenade was a weapon that we could craft in the laboratory workbench, using special weapons like vial of saliva, vial of spores, infected heart, and infected brain. The gas grenade was like any other grenade. You would place it in your second hand and throw it. However, the gas grenade only worked on the spore zombies added in the update, dealing 100 damage to all the zombies in the explosion area. For normal zombies, the gas grenade only dealt very minimal damage. For me though, this weapon could be a really interesting idea. I imagine that the gas grenade would be a weapon for beginners. They could use it in the start of the game, when they don't have a ton of normal grenades. Of course, the recipe for the gas grenade would be changed and the damage done to normal zombies would be increased. As I said in the start, I don't understand why Kefir decided to remove such a cool and unique weapon. In my opinion, out of all the weapons in this video, the gas grenade is the weapon that should be implemented in the game. It just makes perfect sense to have a gas grenade in Last Day on Earth. Kefir, you know what to do. Next up is the first gun in our list, the S&W Magnum. Maybe some of you have never heard of this weapon, but yes, it was part of the game a really long time ago. However, even back in 2018, the S&W Magnum was unfortunately inaccessible. You see, the S&W Magnum required tungsten for the crafting recipe, and as we all know, tungsten was and still is unobtainable. Plus, there is no way to find the S&W Magnum, not even in Bunker Alpha. So even though this weapon was in the game, players at the time didn't have the chance of using the gun. When we look at the wiki page, we can see that the Magnum does 25 damage with an attack speed of 2.5. And then when we look at the Colt Python, a similar gun to the Magnum, we can see that it does 25 damage but an attack speed of 1.4. So clearly, even if both weapons are revolvers and have similar stats, it's obvious that the S&W Magnum is a far more superior weapon than the Colt Python we have today. On top of that, the description of the S&W Magnum says the following: a multi-shot gun that has been popular since the Wild West period. So, a multi-shot gun, the only weapon in the game to have this kind of feature. So not only the Magnum is an objectively better weapon than the Colt Python, but it is also cooler and unique. Unfortunately for us though, this cool weapon was never accessible to begin with, and it was quickly removed from the game. Do you think the S&W Magnum has a place in Last Day on Earth, or is it too much to have a ton of weapons in the game? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And last but not least, the coolest looking weapon on our list, the Dual Berettas. This unique gun was part of Last Day on Earth at some point in the past, and everybody agreed that the Dual Berettas is the best and most unique gun in the game. However, it was also replaced later on with the Colt Python we have today. The Dual Berettas were obtainable through the floppy disk crate or through the reputation system with a specialist. And this is how they looked like in the inventory of a player, and this is the Dual Berettas in action. You have to agree that this looks really cool, right? This weapon was not only cool, but it was also a huge deal. They would do 25 damage and had an attack speed of 3.3. On top of that, the Dual Berettas worked like a Glock. They would never miss any shot. So it is basically like an AK or an M16 that hits every shot, without using any mods. Even though the Dual Berettas were a rare weapon, they were still a great weapon to use. This is basically the most damaging pistol item in the game to date, and yet it was replaced with the Colt Python. Kefir always likes to ruin these things. I don't know the reason why they replaced the Dual Berettas. They were a unique and original weapon. They could have stayed in the game as a rare and valuable gun, and the Colt Python could have been added separately, without having to replace the Dual Berettas. Is it too much to ask? I don't think so. It is a simple addition that everyone in the community would love. This was my list of the old weapons in Last Day on Earth. Would you like to see any of them make a comeback? Share your opinion down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, thanks for watching, and bye bye.